These rocky shores where I call home, where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, it's these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, it's these rocky shores, they are home to me.
Whenever I leave here, it hurts me so, with tears in my eyes. Why you go? There ain't no work, and the kids need new clothes. The bills need paying, so off I must go.
These rocky shores, where I call home, where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, yes, these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me.
I think to myself, where did it all go? The life I once had on the ocean's gentle road. My tears in my eyes and my head in my hands, away from my family, I hope they understand.
That is these rocky shores, where I call home, it's where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, yes, these rocky shores, where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they are home to me. Yes, these rocky shores, they are home to me.
Good evening. Welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include: we took our camera to the new museum. Staff at St. John Central High have some concerns with the midterm results at the school. Interview with representatives from the Bright Sites Youth Committee. A report from the last council meeting. These stories, plus community events, the VBS Playbill, Off the Rack, and more coming up after this.
Just look at her. What a difference. Till a few months ago, we thought kidney dialysis was her only chance. But then a kidney donor was found. Someone took the time to sign a donor card and tell their family their wishes. Please, discuss organ donation with your family and sign a donor card today. You'll give someone like Michelle a second chance.
This message was brought to you by the Kidney Foundation of Canada and your local station.
A group of students from St. John Central High traveled to Corner Brook to enter bridges they built from popsicle sticks and glue in a popsicle stick bridge competition held as part of National Engineering Week. There were a total of 20 bridges entered in this year's popsicle stick bridge competition. Of the 20 bridges, 17 came from students at St. John Central High School in Burgeo. Once all of the bridges had been weighed, the bridges were then judged for the best looking bridge before the actual testing of the bridges began. Students from St. John Central High School did extremely well in this contest last year, finishing first, second, and third, as well as taking home the prize for the best bridge.
Okay, she's registering right off the bat. So we have 150, 200, 300, 400, 500. 600, 7, 8, 9, 900 PSI. You dropping out? Yep.
Once all 20 bridges had been tested, it was clear that Burgeo was going to have a good spot in the standings again this year.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for participating. They did an excellent job, every one of you. Really good, a lot of good designs here, a lot of good potential engineers we're going to have in the future, I believe. I'd like to especially thank the teachers and that who are involved in this, and especially when people come far away as Burgeo and that. Real fine showing. Thanks very much. I'm going to start with the third place winner of the bridge competition, and I look for Michael O'Keefe to come forward, please.
Wait a second now.
Okay. Just a second now. We'll have
That's his brother.
that's his brother. What's your name? Matthew.
Very good. Look at the camera, guys.
Look at the camera. Very good. $50 prize that was. Great job. Second prize goes to Benjamin Thatcher. Benjamin there. Congratulations, Benjamin. Yeah, look at the camera there.
All right.
Good going. Finally, we need a drum roll, don't we? Somebody got a drum roll?
Yeah. Bring in get the winning bridge in.
First prize goes to Joey Strickland. There you go.
Here, have a look.
Hang on, Joey.
Good. Wait now, we got one more. Have your attention. Basically, before it all starts, we judge the most aesthetically pleasing bridge, and that prize for $50, and the most aesthetically pleasing bridge goes to Michael O'Keefe. He's here this time.
Hey, you want to hold the bridge up too?
Hold the bridge. Here's your bridge. There you go. And we get a picture here now.
The complete bridge building contest will be shown in its entirety later in the week. Heavy rains caused sections of the shoulder of Route 480 to wash away earlier in the week. The high water levels caused by the rains also resulted in water running across the road just past Sealbrook. Motorists had to use caution when driving in the area of Owen Marsden's cabin just past Sealbrook earlier this week, when extremely heavy rains caused flooding on the highway in that area. The heavy rains also caused some sections of the shoulder of the road to wash away between Burnt Pond and Burgeo. The high waters also made Sealbrook look a lot more like a raging river than a swimming hole in the summertime. Work is currently being carried out to transform the former public library building into a museum. I spoke with Stan Kosser, one of the members of the museum committee, about the plans for the new museum. Stan, renovations are being carried out here at what used to be the public library to house the museum. What exactly is being done here at the building?
Well, we're having shelves put on the wall. There'll be 4 display cases like this with glass fronts. Those will be used to keep a lot of artifacts in that we don't want, like people like touching and that. We will be doing a number of portable display cases that you can move them around as you like. So many tables and some portable walls. What we're hoping to have done is more or less divide the museum up into like themes, whereby you'll have a section probably that could be as a you know, like say for the fishery, something else, everyday living and things like that. The workers, that's what they're at now, putting in those shelves and display cases. We have another worker, Francis Young, who's recataloguing all the artifacts, separating them, and hopefully it's all going to be done like as a museum should be, and I think this is going to be something that the people of Burgeo can be proud of.
Okay, so when are you hoping to have the work completed?
The majority of it should be done by the first week in April. What's not done at that time, maybe we'll have the material for to have it done. Whether it all gets done or not, that's all according to how fast the two fellows works. And there's quite a bit of work to be done, but it'll be ready to be open like time the tour season starts.
Okay, so are you looking at having it open longer than the former museum was open in the past, like during the challenge programs, or you're looking at having it open later into the fall and probably earlier in the spring, or?
Yes, we still be getting students or trying for students under the challenge program. There's probably other avenues we can go about and get workers to come in when we don't have paid workers. Never could tell, there may be some people out there who would like to volunteer so many hours a week or something like that. The committee, I guess it's something the committee will take a look at, and hopefully we can go through, there's other government sources that we're looking into as well that we can probably get people to come in and have it open.
Okay, so how many people are currently on the museum committee?
Right now there's 7. One is a new member. We haven't had very many meetings. I guess the committee has been in place a number of years, but due to the other place in there was not much to work with. There was applications tried for to get government funding, which we couldn't get. When this place became available, council in its good grace, I guess, decided to use it as a museum, seeing it was no longer being in use as a library. We're hoping for more members. If there's anyone out there who would like to, has an interest in the museum and would like to sit on the committee, by all means come along and let us know so that you can be contacted when we have our next meeting.
Okay, so how would someone go about, if they've got an item they'd like to put on display here at the museum, how would they go about that?
Right now, I guess the first thing to do, they can contact Frances. She's cataloging everything right now. After this, I guess things that'll be accepted here it'll be things like they got a significant to the museum. It won't be just a storage place because somebody got something that they don't need any longer. But if they got a whole item that they felt that they should be in a museum or something they want to have in there, by all means bring it along or contact somebody on the committee, and I guess the committee eventually is going to have somebody who can make a decision, if it should be in the museum or not.
Okay, I guess one other thing is that if you want to put something here in the museum, you don't necessarily have to give up your right to it. I guess you can put it on display here and still keep it yourself, right?
Oh yeah, things can be loaned to the museum, and there will be proper forms people can fill out if they want to give it as a permanent display, or if it's just a loan to the museum. There will be forms filled out, and in a place like this, it'll be well taken care of.
Okay, well, we'd like to thank you for speaking to us today.
You're very welcome.
Plans for Burgeo's second Come Home year are moving right along. I spoke with Ann Brown, Communications Chairperson for the event, to find out how things are going. Speaking with me in the studio today is Ann Brown, a representative from the San and Sea Come Home Year Committee. Welcome to our studio. Can you tell us how the plans are progressing for the Come Home Year?
The plans are going really good. I think we got most of our music in place for all week at Sandbanks Park and throughout town, different events. And I guess as probably a lot of people know now, our big concert for Thursday night on the rink, we have Stuffed Squid coming in. So I think everybody will enjoy them, or we hope they will, and hope they'll come out and support us.
So that's Thursday, August 6th.
August the 6th, yeah.
Okay, so how many invitations have gone out for the Come Home Year?
Well, Dave, it's approximately 600, but we got a message put on BBS now. Like, if anybody out there knows, like, say, somebody lived in our community, like ex-cops, ministers, or whoever, just check with Daphne at 3365, and if there haven't been an invitation sent out to them, we'll surely get one out to them, or even probably your own relative haven't got an invitation sent out to them. You might think, well, probably this one done it, but probably be a good idea to just check it out, and if any way possible, we'll have an invitation out to them.
So she can tell you if someone has picked up an invitation for that person or not?
Yes, because every invitation that has been sent out is recorded in a book. So it's only a matter for her to go through the book and just check and see if the name is there, and she can tell you if it was or it wasn't.
So do you have any souvenir items, like say ordered for the come home here?
Yeah, and we're expecting them shortly, Dave. We got T-shirts coming, we got caps and mugs with our logo on them for this year. So as soon as we get them, I think we're going to set up probably evening or so into the town council office or somewhere and sell them. And so as soon as we do get them, I'm guaranteed on Channel 10 you'll see a message pushing our souvenirs and
telling you where you can pick them up.
Where you can pick them up and what price they're going to be. And
okay, so how are your fundraising efforts going?
Fundraising is going good. We've had a couple fundraisers that went over really well. And right now we're selling tickets on 10 dozen beer, which is going to be 3 draws. I think it's going to be drawn April the 5th. So if anybody out there wants a ticket, just give one of the members a call and we'll get it to you, or come and see one of us and we'll have a ticket ready for you.
Okay, do you have a brochure or schedule of events of some sort that's available for the public?
Yeah. Far as I knows it's gone to the printers now. So I think I got to come back for the approval, and then it'll be finalized. And then I say shortly that we should have it out and ready for anybody who wants to pick up one to view to see what's going to be going on within the 10 days for Come Home Year.
Okay, so as Come Home Year gets closer, are all of your plans coming together?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're getting pretty well, probably not so naughty stomachs now. Seems like we're getting everything under control. So I think it's going to come and go over just as good as the Cabot did last year.
Okay, are there any final comments that you'd like to make?
No, I'd just like to once again thank the public for their support, and hope they'll continue supporting us. And when our time rolls around for volunteers, you're going to be out there to help us.
Okay, so when the date for the actual Come Home Year arrives, I guess you're going to be looking for volunteers to help out in a lot of different ways.
Oh yes, because we got Sandbanks Park got to be ready for the occasion. And I said we needs our rink done, and we needs that all done in like we had it done last year. So it do take more than the committee to get these things to work the same as last year, where we had volunteers come forward. So I'm guaranteed that, or I'm sure that we'll get the public support again this year.
Okay, well, we'd like to thank you for dropping by and keeping us up to date.
Yeah, I will, and anything else comes up, we'll be here for another update and let everybody know what's progressing and what's coming up.
Okay, well, thanks for coming in and speaking to us.
Thanks.
The Family Resource Center located at A.J. Matthews School opened its doors in early March. We stopped by the center this past week to see what it's all about. The Family Resource Center offers children a place to go to make new friends, play with different toys, and most importantly, have fun. The center is open Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for children ages 2 to 3 and their parents or caregivers to drop by at their convenience. There is no scheduled time that one has to be there. The center is also open on Thursday afternoons from 1 to 3 p.m. for children under the age of 2. This offers the children a chance to get used to other kids their own age, while giving the parents and caregivers a chance to discuss similar concerns they may have. You don't have to be registered or signed up in order to visit the Family Resource Center. If you have a child that fits the age group, feel free to drop by anytime the center is open. Stay tuned, there's more of This Week in Review still to come.
people, listen what the cool hands say. Say, say, say. Say no to dope and think before you drink. It's cool house. Say no to dope and think before you drink.
Brought to you by the War Amputations of Canada and this station.
Last week was a busy one at both schools as students tried to cram a few Education Week activities into their busy schedules. Students at A.J. Matthews School held many activities throughout Education Week. On Thursday afternoon, we caught a glimpse of them as they paraded around town waving flags from different nations. On Friday, students came to school wearing outfits from different nationalities. Many other activities were also held at the school to celebrate Education Week. At St. John Central High School, students wore different things on different days. It was a black day, dress-up day, disco day, etc. The only other activity really that was held that all the school got involved in was a talent show on Friday afternoon.
I'd like to introduce everyone to Joey Strickland, first person in the talent show. Joey's going to do a few songs for us. We're going to start off with a wallflower song called Three Marlettes.
talent show will be shown in its entirety later in the week. The Bright Sights Youth Committee has signed an agreement with St. John Central High to operate a youth center out of the school on weekends. I spoke with representatives from the youth committee to find out more about their youth center. Speaking with me in the studio today, I have Paul Matheson, Melissa Pink, and Julia Benoit, three representatives from the Bright Sights Youth Committee. Welcome to our studio. Paul, I understand the Bright Sights Youth Committee has signed an agreement with the high school. Where do you go from here?
Well, Dave, we were at the school on Saturday morning, and we had a look at the facilities we're planning to use. We figured out where everything is hoping to go, where we're going to use for storage, basically try to get an overview of where we're going to go and what kind of place we're going to use.
Okay, Melissa, when do you hope to have the youth center open?
We're hoping to have the youth center on the go by Friday, coming, it's the 20th.
Okay, Julia, how would someone go about obtaining a membership in the Bright Sights Youth Committee, the Bright Sights?
Well, the registration forms will be available at the public meeting tomorrow, and they will be available at both schools.
Okay, Paul, I understand that you're looking for donations of items that can be used in the youth center?
Yes, Dave, we're soliciting the support from the general public. We're looking for any old board games, any old, perhaps even an old television set that's not being used. We're looking for any donations like that whatsoever that we could probably put to use for the youth to use. We'd consider anything that can be given to us. It won't be turned down. We'll have a look at it and see how we can use it.
Okay, Melissa, you have a public meeting scheduled for tomorrow night. What is the purpose of that meeting?
The main purpose of the meeting is to inform the public of what's going on with the youth center and to let them know what we're trying to do. We're also looking for volunteers and commitment from volunteers to help us out when the youth center gets started. And it's just basically a public meeting with general information.
So that would be adult volunteers?
Adult volunteers.
Okay, Julia, what are some of the activities that you're planning for the youth center?
Well, the gymnasium will be available for sports, and the stage socializing area will be available for arts and crafts, movies, watching TV, listening to music, board games. That's the area for eating and darts. And the corridors will be used for ping pong, pool, and, well, other games. And the outside area, the cement block out back, will be used for skateboarding, basketball, and tennis.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys have got a busy few weeks coming up now getting ready. Is there anything else that either of you would like to add?
Well, Dave, there are a couple other items. I'm going to be helping out with a couple of other people trying to put in a proposal to the Mounted Police Foundation. It's a foundation that supports alcohol and drug-free initiatives such as this. We're looking to find or get some money, hopefully, to buy equipment and materials for the youth center. As well, we're also hoping to put in a proposal to hire a couple of workers who hopefully can help coordinate activities at the youth center and help us run and make sure everything runs smoothly.
Okay, one other thing. We mentioned memberships. Understand there's a membership fee in place?
Yes, I believe it's $5, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a $5 membership fee. The membership application, which I believe Julia has a sample there, it's, the parents should have a good look at this and the youth. It really is a detailed form describing some of the activities, some of the rules, and we'd like the parent to acknowledge the basically the rules that are shown on the form. So it is a $5 registration fee.
Okay, so is that a one-time fee or?
Yep, it's good until you graduate high school from whenever you sign up.
Okay, so if someone this year, for instance, signs up in grade kindergarten, that $5 membership is good right up until they graduate high school? Yep. Okay. Well, we'd like to thank you for coming in and filling us in, and hopefully next weekend we'll be able to come up and get a shot of your center up and running.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you. I visited the high school this past week to speak to the principal, Dr. Barter, about the midterm progress reports, which went out a few weeks back. Barter, the progress reports went home in St. John Central High about a month ago. Can you tell us how the results were at the midterm progress report?
Well, the staff and I have looked at them, Dave, and I suppose if we look at just straight statistics, we had 34 enrolled in grade 7 and 32 passed, which means there was a 97% success rate. And in grade 8, there are 32 enrolled, 5 failed, 27 passed, which is a pass rate of 84%. And in grade 9, 19 students out of 23 were successful for 83%. The ones, I guess, that concern me in that area are the grade 8s and grade 9s in particular, because we're down in the 83, 84%. It's been my experience over the last 4 years with the midterm or mid-year results. They're usually higher than the June results. And they're generally in grade 7, 8, and 9 up in the 90s, and that's where we would like to see them too. So we have to take a look at that. But my major concern, I think, is in senior high. In level 1, for example, there were a possible of 386 credits. I can't give students in this area because some students might be doing 12 credits, some might be doing 14, some might be doing 10. So basically, I've taken all of the credits that would be offered at that level for the first term. And out of those 386, there were 267 credits passed. So technically, that's an average of 69%, and that is low, and it is a major concern. And then in level 2, we have people registered for a total of 505 credits. Out of that, 362 credits were registered as successful, so that's about the 72%. And then in level 3, we had 332 possible credits, 290 credits being successful for 87%. And again, all three of those, in my opinion, are low compared to what we've had in other years, although our lowest level generally is level 1, level 2. And I mean, there may be a variety of reasons for that. Going into a senior high system is different from a junior high system. In junior high for years, for example, we didn't repeat any students. But in senior high, you have to receive so many credits in order to be successful. And so any students who might have been advanced and or who didn't do well in junior high or had difficulty in junior high would kind of run into a brick wall in senior high, particularly if they don't take home any books, they don't do any studying, or they don't participate in class activities and that sort of thing. So that is a major concern for us. And I look at the level 3s with 87% leaving here and going out to university or college in September. If their average is down mid-year, it's our expectation from past experiences that it could be lower come June when we have to do final exams. And that as well is a concern. The lowest that we've had in the past 5 years for a June pass rate for level 3 has been 90. And actually in the, I can give you the statistics here. In 1992 for level 3 we had 90% successful. We had 97% in 93, 94% in 1994, 93% in 95, 95% in 96, 94% in 1997. So they've all been up in the 90s. And we've fallen below that this year for whatever reason, and that does concern me because the averages, the students who have been doing well are in the 80, 81, 82, 83 range, and which are pretty good averages. But then when you look at what they're going to be expected to do to A, get into a university, or B, go into certain fields like medicine or law school, or to do a Bachelor of Arts and so on and so forth, their averages probably need to be higher. And for scholarships at Memorial now, I mean, if you don't have a 90 average, between 90 and 95 average, there's no need to even apply, So it concerns me because what we'll have is students who have an average that is good enough to graduate, but not good enough to get them anywhere. And I think that's going to be detrimental to the child. So we are definitely concerned about that. Now I've taken the results to the school council and just gave them an overview, and we discussed it. and I've already taken it to a staff meeting and we've discussed it, and we've listed, I guess, a whole bunch of things that could be factors to explain, why the results are low. If I had one answer, then that would be easy and I would be able to correct it. But I mean, there's a variety of scenarios, I guess. You could say the environment of the community, the lack of jobs here now, the out-migration of people, all of those things are going to attribute to the attitude, the working behavior of children in the school. I mean, whatever goes on in the home carries over into the school, I believe. We have to look at class size. Our classes, on an average, in comparison to other schools, are actually not bad. I mean, we've had students who have come into the school even from the elementary. For example, our grade 7s who came in as one class from grade 7, as a class of 33. That is now two classes of 17 and 16, which we're very fortunate in having this year. We had our grade 8s who, when they came in from the elementary school, was a one class of 33 students who are now divided, at least for some subjects. In senior high, we have 2 or 3 classes that are fairly large, and of course the reason being for that is we don't have the teacher power, the staff power, to be able to divide the classes, and yet there are certain courses that students must have to graduate, so you will find that the class is large every year. World Geography would be a good example. There's usually 30 odd in that. My law class has 36 because you need Canadian social studies in order to graduate. So if you do democracy one term, you do law the other. Usually our literature courses are, fairly large. They're up in the 30s. And some kids have a difficulty with that. I mean, if you have a learning disability, a visual impairment or a hearing impairment, where you've got to work with a larger class, then that becomes a problem, right? So that is being looked at, and I don't have the answer for it because, I mean, parents know as well as I do that government is laying off every year. We're very much afraid that this year the formula for determining the number of teachers in school may be changed. And my belief is that you're going to be sure that if government changes it, it's not going to be for the betterment of the school, where we're using a formula now of 0.0435 multiplied by the number of students you have in school to get the number of your teachers. I suspect if it's changed, it will be decreased, which means that our classes will be larger again. So in one sense, it's out of our control, and unless we decide to offer less courses or fewer courses, and if we do that, then we're still just making other classes bigger, So it becomes a question of, do you have 34 in a law class where you can lecture, or do you have 34 in computers class where you can't put one child to a computer? So in order to have sometimes classes such as home economics or industrial arts or computers, where you have to use a particular tool to instruct, where we try to have at least a one-on-one or a minimum of two-on-one for the tools that had to be used, and thus decreasing the size of the classes. So it's always a balancing act as to how you spread out your class sizes, but it is a problem. Other things, like I suppose even the facility itself, being where it is situated in town. For example, a lot of the senior high classes go on out in the wing. The wing is up over a hill there on the main street. It seems like every noise that comes by that street takes students' attention. We have a ventilation problem in that area, so there's days that you want to open the windows that you can't, and open the doors because of the noise level, and that certainly affects children's learning. We question, for example, in junior high and even in senior high, if we're giving enough homework. And some students, I can't say all, because some of our students are very regular workers, whether they have homework or not. They're very well organized, and they're going to go home, and if they have no written homework, will spend their time going over the other things, studying. But there are a good many students who, if they have no homework, don't take home any books, or don't take the classes that they had that day and go over the work that they've done. So there's no studying going on, other than if homework has to be done. So we're starting to wonder if that's the only way we can get them to take home their books and open them, is that maybe we should be giving them more homework. So we've gone over some of the things such as these, and we've asked ourselves, what are some of the things we've done? Well, I mean, we use the BBS consistently every week so that parents know what exams are being written for the week and what exams have been given back, so children at least then can kind of be forced to report that they've had an exam that a parent might otherwise have go unnoticed. We've been using the homework hotline, not as frequently as we should be, and so we've asked that begin again with the staff so that parents can phone in and see what homework is going on. We have Homework Haven that has been instituted here, where we've said if you don't have a quiet place to study at home, you want a quiet place to study, and somewhere where you might have a friend who could give you help, as in Mrs. Courtney, then the school is open, you're welcome in for a couple of hours. And even that has caused us some difficulty because some of the students, again not all of them, have turned it into kind of a social area where they come to Homework Haven, not necessarily to do their homework, but to chat with their friends, because ordinarily they might not be allowed out on school nights. But if they're going to Homework Haven, their parents would let them out. So there's all those types of things that we're trying to deal with to say, where do we go from here? So basically, I've taken the concerns of the staff and the student council. I've written them down, and by the end of this week, we'll have written up our concerns and what we're going to do about it from now until June, so that we can try to place the importance upon students, to emphasize the importance upon students about doing as well as they possibly can. My fear is that they're becoming apathetic, that there's no jobs to be gotten, that there's no type of education that you can get that will guarantee you a job. So what do I do? Do I do anything? And I think some students are starting to have that attitude because it is difficult. The school itself at this point in time can't advise students as to what to do for their future. And I guess many of them standing back watching their own friends or watching people coming out with university degrees who get no jobs, college diplomas, which get no jobs, and are maybe then not seeing the importance of education. So I've left it open, and I'm leaving it open for parents, if just parents who are listening to me tonight, who have other suggestions as to and reasons as to why students aren't performing. I would like to hear them. I would love for them to give me a call, and I would love to hear them, and I will address whatever concerns that I possibly can.
Okay, so it seems like you've pretty much summed up the progress, and you said that you're going to be compiling a list of possible solutions, and so will this list be sent home to the parents?
The list will be sent home to the parents one way or the other, either through the BBS, as in another interview maybe a week down the road, or in a newsletter, depending on which I feel will reach the most parents. Because what we've been finding with the newsletters is that we've been sending them out, and then we had to put a notice on the BBS saying we've sent them out because parents would call and say, I didn't get that newsletter, because kids don't bring them home. So I'm beginning to think that the BBS might be a better place because parents automatically turn on their TV, and a high percentage of them watch the Burjo News on Sunday evenings. So I'm hoping that that's a more effective way to reach them rather than passing out a paper. So I haven't decided which way, whether it'll be one or both. But within a week, parents will be getting information as to the steps that the school will be taking. And then, of course, we'll also be saying to the students, now what steps are you taking? Because as I said speech night, and I would reiterate it to parents, parents can do their part, and teachers can do their part. But if the students don't do their part, we're fighting a losing battle. And the child then has to realize that they have to pay the consequences for it.
Okay, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, not at this point in time. I thank you for the interview, and maybe speaking to you again in the very near future.
Okay, well, thanks for speaking with us. Mayor Hand stopped by our studio last week to update us on the council meeting held on Wednesday of that week.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Town of Burgeo Council report from our regular meeting held on March the 4th, 1998. At our meeting on March the 4th, the fish plant came up for discussion, and all that we have to report is that the application for a TJF funding to process blubber at the fish plant is working its way through the system. From what we're getting back from HRDC and from our local Member of Parliament, Mr. Bill Matthews, is that the thing is going through on schedule. There's no delay, and it's just a normal run-of-the-mill thing there. However, the application for TJF funding to upgrade the plant to produce Argentine, that application have not been made as of yet. Seafreeze is holding off on that application until their application for blubber has been approved. HRDC says that there's no reason why the application should not be submitted, that one application has no effect on the other. However, that's where we stand. I wish there was something optimistic to report, but there's not. So there's not much council can do in that regard. Another topic for discussion and dealt with last night was the old Centennial Library. It was decided that the building would be officially turned over to the museum committee. At the present time, I believe there's probably 3 employees that's working to bring the artifacts out from the old site into the new one. Some display cases is being made. Our museum committee has been resurrected, brought back to life, and is active. Stan Coster tells me I think they can do with a couple of more members. If there's someone out there who would like to serve on a museum committee, then you could probably contact Stan. The museum, this job which is being done out there is a grant which being done on a grant which the town was awarded. It was I believe it was $5,500 thereabout. Back early in the year or on the closure of 1997. The town was hoping to hold on to it until the weather got warmer. Little did we know at the time the kind of winter we were going to have. However, we found out that the money had to be used up by March the 31st. So therefore, we took on some people and got them working at the library, at the museum. Now, there's been some confusion. There's 2 work projects on the go at this time. I don't know the name of the other one, but I think it has something to do with the ecological reserve. And some people has got the confusion that the town is involved in 2. But really, the town has nothing to do with the other one, nothing whatsoever, other than that they do the payroll for that one. But they got no supervision, nothing whatsoever to do with that project. However, the one at the museum, yes, the town is administering that one, and it is a town grant. Last night at our meeting, we also discussed the results of a meeting we held on March the 27th regarding the Education Recreational Complex, which is an all-grade school and a recreational complex for Burgeo. The project has moved along to the stage now whereby Atlantic Engineering has been given the go-ahead to do a feasibility study into an all-grade school for Burgeo and a recreational complex. What we're looking for, we're not sure. The Atlantic Engineering has been asked to just about explore every avenue as to what they think is the proper recreational facility for Burjo. And after we've got the feasibility, well, then we'll downsize to what we can afford. This is a new venture which is being tried. We're trying to bring on board the Department of Education, the Department of Municipal Affairs, and also involve the federal government and the town council. And for some reason, the group is quite optimistic that we're going to access funding and starting out on something new that hopefully Burjo can benefit. However, for people who is with the recreational complex and been in there for some years and have got some reservations and not sure if the town should be going that way, that after the feasibility study is in, it's been looked at, if we feel like we'd like to opt out and say that's the end of it, then there's no problem there. I mean, the town can go on its own as for an arena or whatever the original plan was. So it looks like by just waiting around for 6 months that maybe we'll reap some benefit in the long run. A decision was made at council last night to order new street signs for our town. The signs will, I like to point out that this is new street signs, not new street names. All names will be the same. And it is hoped to have these signs put in place before Common year. Another item of some concern to council has been brought to several of the councillors, a practice going on around the Federal Building, which is people coming down Main Street and cutting across the parking lot at the Federal Building and then coming out on Centennial Street, that way avoiding the stop sign. Apparently there's been some near accidents, and possibly there have been some accidents, but the town contacted Public Works, and what they would have liked to have had was a speed bump put to prevent this practice. Public Works didn't see it that way. They said the town could dig up the shoulder of the road if they wish, which would stop people from doing this. That, to us, doesn't seem to be very practical or sensible. So I'd just like to point out that in coming out of that parking lot there, you know, you've got somebody stopped on Main Street, or on the opposite street, which is Harborview Crescent there. They're at stop signs, and someone comes flying. They don't see any traffic coming either way on Centennial Street, and just as they go to exit the stop sign, a vehicle pulls right out of the parking lot on the other side of the pole and the stop sign, and there is some near misses happening there. So where it stands now is the Public Works is going to ask the RCMP to do a bit of enforcement around there. Whether that's going to cure the problem or not, I'm not sure. Another item which came up for the discussion last night and council approved was what's known as a sewer backwater valve. And the town adopted the same sewer backwater valve regulations as the town of Port-aux-Basques has in place. I believe it was last year that the town of Port-aux-Basques was sued, something over $100,000, because of sewer backup in some property in Port-aux-Basques. Their insurance would not cover it, and they lost their case mainly not because they were at fault, but because they did not have sewer backwater valve regulations in place. Those regulations, it's not compulsory for anyone to put them in. That's from the old the people who's already connected to our sewer system. However, any new connections to our sewer system, it will be mandatory that would be connected. Also, people who's running their weeping tile and their sump pumps and so on into the main sewer line, in other words, they're running storm sewer into the the domestic sewer, should they have a backup, then the town would definitely not be responsible. Now, there's nothing says the town will be responsible if you've got a backwater valve, but at least you've got a fighting chance. And a backwater valve is not an expensive item. It's only about $25, but I think there is a requirement you've got to dig up your sewer line to install it. But as I say, the regulations were approved last night, put in place, and you'll be reading about them in the Southwest Times. Or you can contact the town office to find out just exactly what is going on in that regard. Another policy which came up for lengthy discussion last night was the tax collection policy. It's been drafted. It was tabled last night for the first reading. There was a lengthy discussion took place. Consensus was not reached, and it will be back for another meeting. But that's just to keep you updated on that, something that was mentioned earlier and is still being worked on. The town was sort of given a gift last night. It was something I don't think the town has seen before, in that Mr. Hubert Strickland of Messrs. Asked for permission to erect a statue in tribute to fishermen and seamen of Burgeo. He'd like to erect it on the property where the old library, that's the former library, not the one that's being vacated on Centennial Street, but the one on Main Street is located. And it is quite a tribute in council's opinion. It's a marble monument. Measures about as 10 foot long, about 7 foot high, and there's a dory on top with a fisherman in it, pulling a net over the side. And the reading which is proposed to go on this is presented to the town of Burgeo as a tribute to all fishermen and seamen of Burgeo, erected by Hubert S. Strickland, fisherman and leading seaman, Merchant Navy, World War II. And the inscription from Psalm 107, some sailed over the ocean in ships, earning their living on the seas. Our town is very thankful to Mr. Anderson, or rather Mr. Strickland. We feel that it's going to be quite an enhancement to our town. The town has been asked to provide the concrete base and some sand for patio stone to put the path leading into it. It is possible there may be a couple of park benches put there as well. And really, council is really excited about this. So publicly tonight, Hubert, I would like to thank you, and you will be thanked properly, I'm sure, as time goes on. But on behalf of the council, I certainly do thank you for your gesture of erecting a tribute to this town, which has a seagoing heritage. And all I say is thank you very much. I think that's about it from council for this week, and see you again next time.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, community events, and the BBS Playbill. All that after this.
Celebrating the joy of physical activity for 25 years. Participation.
Off the Rack. This week as we scanned our tape racks, we came across a video of Education Week 1987. All of these primary and elementary students are either in senior high or graduated. How many can you recognize?
Good evening and welcome to the community event segment after tonight's broadcast. I'm Rhonda Green. The Pathfinder TV Bingo held on Wednesday was won by Roxanne Bond. Congratulations, Roxanne. The Help Committee will be holding a TV Bingo on Wednesday at 7 p.m. in aid of the graduation class. Cards are $1 each or 6 for $5 and are available from any grad class member. The new museum is currently being set up in the former Old Public Library. Anyone with antiques, old pictures, or other items they feel would benefit Burgess Museum can have them added to the displays at this time. Items can be donated to the museum or put on permanent display. If you have any inquiries about previously donated items or would like to make a donation, you can do so by calling Francis at 886-2949. The Lionesses are taking orders for daffodils for cancer research. Daffodils cost $6 for a bunch of 10. You can call 886-2711 or 886-2806 to place your order or place it on the sheets located in various stores around town. The deadline for placing orders is March 20th. Daffodils will arrive early in April. March is Kidney Foundation Month. During the next few weeks, the Burnett's will be canvassing the town in aid of the Kidney Foundation. Please give generously when a canvasser calls at your door. If your group or organization has an upcoming event planned, we would be happy to advertise it for you. You can contact the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's program. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. Join us on Monday at 7 p.m. for On a Forgotten Coast, rock climbing at Francois. Tune in on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for the Popsicle Stick Bridge competition. Try your luck on Wednesday at 7 p.m. by playing Grad Class TV Bingo. Following Bingo, we'll have a service from St. John the Evangelist Church. At 7 p.m. on Thursday, we will have Banfield Fudge and Group 1. Join Pansy and the gang for crafts, stories, and lots of fun Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on Pansy's Garden. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. Next week's program will be followed by The Bandwagon. Please stay tuned now for Banfield Fudge and Group 1 from our friends at Ramia Broadcasting. For This Week in Review, I'm Dave Cooper. Good night.